the last game at St Mirren was a sort of bitter blow, but I take it from your perspective that as much as that was painful, this is a game that you really don't want to lose or slip up in, just given what was coming at the weekend.
Yeah, listen, huge disappointment. I wasn't a feeling we've had too often. Obviously, this season, the dressing room after, the most pleasing thing was the response has been good since. But as you said, yeah, a massive game for us, a really important game against a team who's bang on form and full of confidence. So we'll be going there to try and do our utmost to get the 3 points.
In terms of consistency this season, the way that you have responded to that game, I mean, that must be so encouraging for you. I mean, the way even the sort of slip ups, maybe the ones you had in Europe, the way you've responded to those has been very impressive.
Yeah, I think so. I think over the course of the season, you're going to be asked different questions, different challenges put in front of you, and it's up to us to try and find the answers to that. And more often than not, so far this season, we've been able to do that. We understand there's still a lot of football to be played, but we're just kind of using the age-old cliche of going into the next game's the most important one, and making sure we're prepared for that, and that'll be the case against St Mirren as well.
Stephen, do you feel against St Mirren maybe the surprise element is gone, or is there something that you guys need to do differently or better going into this one?
Yeah, I think we can certainly be better, there's no doubt about that. I think certainly in the first half in the game, we were in control of it. Whenever you're on top, you need to try and get that second goal. That's always important, and then they get the penalty and the game changes a little bit. They get a little bit more confidence, maybe affects us a little bit, but yeah, I think there's certain areas that we can be better at in terms of the individual game, but each game's different, and we'll certainly go there with the belief that we can get the 3 points if we play to our capabilities.
Given what's worked so well for Rangers this season, is it a case of just doing your normal job better, or maybe tweaking it slightly because you know what St Mirren are going to do this time?
I think we've got the ability to tweak it if that's what the manager decides, but I think certainly we've got a lot of quality within the dressing room, and we just have to have belief. I think the pleasing thing for me in some of the recent games, if you take the Motherwell game as an example, where we go behind quite early and they get a lot of men behind the ball and try and frustrate us and hit us in the counter-attack. The pleasing thing for me was the calmness that we showed in terms of continuing to do the right things and having that belief in our quality that if we do that, we'll eventually find the answer, and hopefully be getting the result in that game by doing that. Then that'll only magnify that belief in ourselves.
How important is it to have players like yourself and Alan McGregor who've been through this before and know that the different type of challenges you get? You mentioned there, Motherwell was a different type of challenge to Hibs at the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's obviously your more experienced players. It's important that we continue to set the example on a daily basis, and also be there to give the rest of the squad advice in different scenarios as well. But I think for us as a group, the majority of us have been together for the last couple of seasons. We've had the disappointment of sort of the second half of the season where we haven't quite performed, and we know that each and every game we have to go out there and give it our all and perform to get the result, because if you come off with it all, then you can come unstuck. So you have to draw on those negative experiences as well, and hopefully that'll help us moving forward.
With the games coming so thick and fast, do you get much time to work on things in the training pitch, or is it a case of just recovery and then straight back into it?
Yeah, certainly a lot more difficult to actually get time on the grass in terms of going through things. Of course, you've got the benefit of video analysis and different things like that there, and obviously we've got all our individual clips from each game as well, which can help us. But yeah, we're pretty well informed in terms of the opposition every time we play. We obviously have got a style in terms of how we like to play that's tweaked a little bit. So, but in terms of actually getting time on the grass, it's a little bit more difficult.
Stephen, a couple of injuries in midfield for this week coming up. Do you think that the squad quality is at a depth now where that's not really an issue?
Listen, you're always going to miss important players. People like Scotty, if he's out, we don't know just yet. But and obviously Jacko as well has been a big miss for us because he's such an important player for us. But thankfully, the managers continue to try and improve the squad. I think there's really good competition for places, and that stands us in good stead so far. But you're always going to miss important players, as I said, and the quality of those two that I named.
And how are you feeling personally at this stage of your career during such significant busy periods of the season?
Yes, so far so good. Feeling fit, feeling well. Obviously enjoying playing in the team in the form that we're in and the system that we play as well. So it's just about playing the game, getting yourself recovered for the next one, and doing your utmost to be ready to go again.
Hi Stephen, it's exactly a year since Rangers had that Old Firm win, and there was a belief that you could go on and win the title. What's the difference in your mind and the change in the psychology of this squad in that full year?
I think, as I said, to be able to draw on the negative experiences and see whenever you've slipped up that you can't afford to take your eye off the ball whatsoever. I think certainly, as we touched on there as well, the quality that we have throughout the squad now in the competition for places, and everybody's desperate for the jersey and desperate to play, and everybody's pushing each other in the right direction in terms of that as well. So just a combination of things. But listen, we're not foolish enough to know that there's not a lot of football still to be played, a lot of challenges still going to be asked of us, and until we actually have success as a group, those questions are always going to be there. So it's up to us just to remain focused and keep pushing each other.
There was quite an emotional and heartbreaking programme on the Ibrox disaster last night. Is there a real sense and awareness among the squad of how important that event is to Rangers fans in the club?
Yeah, I think probably for some of the newer people at the club, they maybe are only just sort of hearing about the Ibrox disaster, but certainly for a number of us who've been around the club for a lot longer, know the impact that had and the tragedy that it was. So I think if there's any responsibility in us is to try and obviously get the right results if it helps in any kind of way at this stage. And I'm sure for the families it's just important that their family members were remembered in the right way.